Did you just bite your thumb at me?
No, I just have something in my teeth.
Do you quarrel, ma'am?
No, really, I just have something in my teeth. I think I might have some floss.
You lie. Draw.
Oh, look, I found some.
Draw if you be a man.
Whoa, listen, buddy, I just ate an apple, it got stuck in my teeth, like, I'm minding my own business and trying to get it out.
Bah!
Dude, are you from the 1300s or something?
I am.
Okay, so you're telling me that you're from the 1300s, meanwhile it's 2018.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm sitting here, minding my own business, and I offended you because I bite my thumb?
Yes.
No.
Ma'am, do you quarrel?
No. You know what?
And live from New York, it's Saturday!
Oh, wait.
Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na.
Hi, I'm Josie O'Connell.
And I'm Nick Palfox. And this is Collision Course Nomeo and Juliet.
Nomeo and Juliet is a tragic love story produced by the amazing minds of Disney. Miss O'Connell, isn't Nomeo and Juliet based off of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet? Thank you for bringing that up, freshmen. We were all so confused. Yes, clearly we're talking about Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. I was using a lit term called sarcasm. Have you ever heard of it?
Probably not, Josie. Sarcasm may be a 10th grade term. Freshmen aren't quite there yet. Back to Romeo and Juliet. It was written in 1597 and is known as one of the greatest love stories of all time.
Shakespeare derives its plot from several 16th century sources. Shakespeare's primary inspiration for the play was Arthur Brooks' tragical history of Romeo and Juliet, a dense and long poem.
The play's prologue starts with the famous quote, "Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where silver blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal lines of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life."
Nick, spoiler alert, you just ruined the ending for all those who haven't read it.
That's the beauty of Shakespeare. In his prologue, he gives away the ending, but it's still known as one of the greatest love stories of all time.
Wow, you're right. Shakespeare truly was amazing. Not many authors are able to do that.
Yes, with Shakespeare in plays, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Pretty cheesy line, but you're right.
Back to the main event. Josie will give you a quick overview of the plot. Want to see her do it again? Just kidding, that joke code comes from the mastermind of SpongeBob SquarePants. But seriously, you guys ready? When I say quick, I mean it. Ready? Go!
So, long story short, they all die in the end. Everyone dies. Like, there's not a living soul left. Oh, wait, one sec. Oh, wait. Wrong play? Oh. Just kidding. That's Hamlet. In fair Verona, two Capulets, Samson and Gregory, are walking through the city looking for a fight with the Montagues, specifically Abraham and Balthazar. They bite their thumb, but not at each other, leading to a quarrel to lay out the initial mood of extreme tension between the two houses. They are introduced to a seemingly depressed Romeo. He is fixated on his love for Rosalind and distraught because she doesn't love him back. Juliet finds out that Paris, a kinsman to the prince, has his eyes on her. The Capulets host a masquerade ball, of which Romeo and his friends crash. Romeo is still moping around and decides to stand aside, meanwhile the party lives on. On the other hand, this is Juliet's big night to hit it off with Paris. Her mother insists on her falling in love with him, but as soon as she sees Romeo, she falls in love. Sorry, Paris. After this evening at the masquerade, Juliet confesses to the nurse that she is in love with a Montague and not Paris. The nurse, serving as a mother more than her actual mother, listens to her and doesn't condemn her for her wrongdoing. Time passes, and Romeo tells Benvolio and Mercutio his intense love for Juliet. Romeo parts from his friends and sneaks to the Capulet orchard to see Juliet. This is the big moment we've all been waiting for. Overlooking the orchard at night, Juliet goes on about her love for Romeo and the predicament she's in, being in love with a man from another house. She reveals her famous line, "Wherefore art thou, Romeo?" It's often confused she's questioning, "Where are you, Romeo?" But what she really means is, "Why are you, Romeo?" Meaning, why are you a Montague? All in all, they both know they're in love, but Romeo doesn't admit it, even when Juliet explicitly requests 3 words, "Dear Romeo." Romeo leaves and the nurse calls Juliet in. The next morning, Romeo goes to Friar Lawrence to arrange a marriage with him and Juliet. Meanwhile, Benvolio and Mercutio don't know where Romeo is and assume he's with Rosalind. A few pretty graphic sexual jokes later, Romeo reappears. He and the nurse talk and she approves of them getting married. Yet again, the nurse is more of a mother figure to Juliet. Eventually, Romeo and Juliet meet at Friar Lawrence's cell, and push comes to shove, they get married. Although there is no concrete evidence of the marriage itself, it is assumed that they get married. Think it's been too long since a fight between a Montague and a Capulet? Well, you're in luck. Mercutio and Benvolio butt heads with Tybalt, and, spoiler alert, Tybalt and Mercutio die. Emphasis on the make civil hands unclean. And sorry, Prince of Cats, I guess 9 lives just wasn't enough. Juliet hears that Romeo killed her cousin is incredibly distraught. The person she just married killed her cousin and has to be banished. Romeo goes on about how he would rather die in Verona than live and be banished. He's jealous that every cat and dog and little mouse, every unworthy thing, live here in heaven and may look on her, but Romeo may not. Friar Lawrence and Romeo end up conducting a plan that Romeo and Juliet may celebrate their wedding night, but has to leave until Friar Lawrence can get a pardon from the Prince of Verona. Meanwhile, Juliet is still scheduled to marry Paris, and now even the nurse is on board. After an awkward kiss with Paris, Juliet leaves and threatens to kill herself. She comes up with a plan to take poison that will make her appear dead for 42 hours. She marries Paris and fakes her death. The word of her death gets around to Romeo before Friar Lawrence could tell him, and he really believes that she is dead. Push comes to shove, and Romeo kills Paris and kills himself at Juliet's dead body right before she's about to wake up. As Juliet wakes up, she finds Romeo's dead body and then goes against what Friar Lawrence tells her and kills herself with a dagger. And there you have a pair of two star-crossed lovers who take their life.
Wow, good job, Josie. Shakespeare's plot may not seem like the craziest, but it's what's within the lines that makes this play so amazing.
Wow, Nick, another cheesy line, but like the last one, this one's also true.
Let's start with Shakespeare's use of language. The characters curse, vow oaths, banish each other, and in general demonstrate great verbal dexterity through an overuse of action verbs. In addition, the play is saturated with oxymorons, puns, paradoxes, and double entendres.
What's in a name? That which we call a rose by another name would still smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called. Retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Shakespeare even calls the use of names into question, most famously in Juliet's balcony soliloquy. Shakespeare also executed a rather strong shift in language spoken by Romeo and Juliet after they fall in love. Whereas Romeo is hopelessly normal in his courtship before meeting Juliet, after he falls in love, his language becomes infinitely richer and stronger.
Shakespeare's use of diction is just one piece of the puzzle that makes this play so extraordinary.
For those freshmen watching who don't know what diction means, it's a big word for choice and use of words.
Oh, it's the open letter!
How could we forget? This letter seems to be from a clueless freshman.
So that's all of them. What does it say?
All right. Dear Nick and Josie, we could barely understand the plot of Romeo and Juliet, and now we need to know themes. Can you help clear up major themes in the story so we don't fail Honors English 9? Thank you, clueless freshman.
Let's dive deeper into the themes. Romeo and Juliet as numerous.
One of the most obvious themes in the tragedy of two star-crossed lovers is love. Even though Juliet is only 13, we can guess that Romeo was around 20 due to the time period. Romeo and Juliet still have one of the most beautiful, passionate love poetry ever written in English. Maybe Shakespeare does want us to believe in true love after all.
At least it wasn't an Oedipus complex. Love is a smoke raised with the fume of sighs, being purged, a fire sparkling in lovers' eyes. Being vexed, a sea nourished with loving tears. What is it else? A madness most discreet, a choking gal and a preserving sweet.
These are some pretty complex words coming from a teenager. All this abstract language, love as a smoke, fire, sea, madness, suggests that Romeo knows more about love from books than, actually being in love.
Another theme we can dive into is the aspect of family. In Romeo and Juliet, family means a lot more than a husband, wife, and kids. Family means everyone from the head of the house down to the lowly servants, anyone who could possibly owe any of the Capulets or Montague's loyalty.
Romeo and Juliet's love affair has so much more meaning due to the family feud. The two getting together was a betrayal to their family. O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father, and refuse thy name. Or, if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Juliet struggles with the conflict between her feelings for Romeo and her knowledge that he is an enemy of her family. She tries to separate Romeo from his identity as a Montague and contemplates deserting her family for him. She does not imagine that their love and their family's opposition can be reconciled.
There are many more themes, freshmen, but those two are the ones we decided to talk about. Alright, let's look at this episode of Collision Course that's coming to
Wait! I have a fun fact. Much excitement arose in 2007 when archaeologist Elena Menotti discovered Neolithic remains of two skeletons earthed in an embrace outside Mantua, only 40 kilometers south of Verona, where this timeless story is set. As far as we know, it's unique, Menotti said. Double burials from the Neolithic are unheard of, and these are even hugging. The pair of human skeletons locked in a tender embrace were found at a construction site near Verona in northern Italy.
Whoa, what the?
Yes, maybe Romeo and Juliet is based off a true story. I'll end the episode on that. Thank you for watching today. I hope everyone enjoyed, except freshmen.
Sorry, not sorry.
We'd like to thank our AP Lit teacher, Mr. Hebert, for teaching us everything this year, especially irony and sarcasm. And we'd like to thank our 9th grade honors English teacher, Mr. Hebert, for tolerating us as freshmen, helping us understand this best to our ability. Thank you!